Thank you. Mrs. Laura Bush, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I deem it a great privilege and honor to be invited as a featured speaker at this symposium on advancing global literacy, building a foundation for freedom. As we are all aware, basic education within which literacy is the key learning tool was recognized as a human right in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights over 50 years ago. The United Nations has estimated that this is indeed a very large number, almost equal to the combined population of the United States and the European Union. This reminds us that we are way behind the targets of global literacy, and therefore we must renew our efforts more vigorously to achieve our accepted goals of universal literacy. Ladies and gentlemen, education and literacy are the very foundations of human development and growth. Literacy confers a host of benefits, social, economic, and political, all of us which taken together gives a complete empowerment to human beings. But more than that, education and literacy enhance an individual's self-esteem and confidence levels. As Swami Vivekananda, India's leading patriot saint, observed long ago, I quote, "Real education is that by which character is formed, strength of mind is increased, the intellect is expanded, and by which one can stand on one's own feet," unquote. But to achieve this status, literacy should not be confined merely to signing one's name or learning a few letters of alphabets. There is a need for that literacy which does not view learners as passive recipients of information or enables them to mechanically decode the alphabet. Literacy learning must provide learners the space and time to come together, to reflect upon and to understand their positions, and through this process of reflection and articulation, generate organizational energy and catalyze social action. We should aim at ushering this paradigm shift in the concept of literacy. Shortly after the regional conference held last year, the National Development Council, presided over by the Honorable Prime Minister of India, approved the 11th five-year plan for the country. And I'm glad to say that the 11th plan outlay for adult education, fixed at $1.5 billion, represents a significant enhancement over the combined outlays of 750. I'm also happy to inform that India's 11th five-year plan incorporates the notion of lifelong education. This inclusion has facilitated a very significant reassessment of the program from the earlier sequential and fragmented approach of basic literacy. The National Literacy Mission is developing a series of instruments and models to facilitate this process. We recognize that there are areas in the country educationally deprived and isolated where volunteers may not be available within the village for teaching because the overall levels of education within that village or area may be very low. These areas would be provided special trained instructors from outside the community. The instructors will be specially chosen for their sensitivity towards issues of gender and caste equality and their commitment to constitutional values of democracy and secularism. In India, we are committed to providing a second chance to young adults and adolescents who have lost the opportunity for formal schooling. We have observed that wherever positive stimulation has been provided, adolescents have responded and have undoubtedly done us proud. In the new approach to continuing and lifelong education as contemplated in the 11th five-year plan, we are trying inter alia to ensure that literacy is combined with skills for the enhancement of livelihood security and purchasing power provided for the rural people under the new India's legislation, the National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. That literacy is synergized with the determinants of good health, namely nutrition, sanitation, hygiene, safe drinking water under the National Rural Health Mission. That literacy is incorporated with political empowerment, particularly of women elected to the local self-governments. That literacy reinforces and augments India's nationwide campaign for right to information, and through that process leads to an informed citizenry crucial to any democracy. and that literacy is intrinsically linked with universalization of elementary education for equitable equality so that the fresh flow of illiteracy is arrested. Ladies and gentlemen, literacy is an indispensable component of human resource development, and literacy skills are fundamental to informed decision-making, personal empowerment, and participation in the local global community. Literacy readiness is also necessary to carry forward the national agenda and to contribute productively to a knowledge-based society. Literacy should therefore be an article of faith for all of us, and we must continue our endeavors with full vigor and commitment. In this context, may I refer to the following inspiring observations made by Mrs. Sonia Gandhi in her address to the 4th UNESCO Regional Conference in support of global literacy held in New Delhi last year. I quote, "Through the instrument of literacy and education for all, let us work together to ensure that societies remain enriched by the best traditions of their own heritage and yet remain open to the light of science and progressive thought, and that our societies are freed from poverty, from prejudice, from oppression, discrimination, inequality, and violence." Unquote. Thank you.